Practice number 1 of 49ers 2024 training camp is in the books. Brandon Aiyuk present, but it is officially a hold-in as he did not practice. And perhaps the biggest news of today, Trent Williams, the star left tackle, is holding out. Was not at practice, and it is contract related. Now, every single day that Trent Williams is not here, he incurs a $50,000 fine. And the 49ers cannot forgive that fine. The CBA says that veterans cannot have their fines rescinded. Right now, John Lynch is discussing a Trent Williams contract adjustment with Williams representation. And I think that this situation, it's possible for the 49ers and Williams to reach a win-win, just like the 49ers reached a win-win agreement with Christian McCaffrey just over a month ago. Trent Williams has no guaranteed money left on his contract that he signed in 2021. It was a 6-year deal that at the time was the largest deal for an offensive lineman in NFL history. The guaranteed money's already been paid out. Trent Williams is 36 years old. He wants the guaranteed money because he's still one of the best, if not the best, tackle in football. He believes he deserves it. And the 49ers, well, I think they want to reward him because Williams does have a lot of leverage here. He has more leverage than Brandon Aiyuk. He's got probably around the same amount of leverage as Nick Bosa did last year. We saw Bosa win that negotiation. So the 49ers, I think, do want to reward him, but they've got to be very careful since Williams is 36 years old. He's not a spring chicken in football terms. So you have to find a way to make the guaranteed money efficient. And everything is a risk, right? You can't ensure that it's going to be efficient. The guy can get hurt in week 1. The guy can get hurt during his first practice. That's one of the risks that you take when you pay anybody in football. But they have to find a sweet spot of guaranteed money that's paid out in a time frame where Williams is likely to play and not retire. And that's what they're working so hard on right now. They say, Kyle Shanahan divulged that this contract situation has been something that the 49ers and Williams have been talking about for a while. Obviously, there hadn't been enough movement yet to actually reach an agreement, but deadlines tend to create results. And deadline pressure is here because Trent Williams is now being fined $50,000 a day for not being at the facility. So we're going to monitor that today at practice. Jalen Moore was the left tackle taking Trent Williams' place. Obviously, Williams is a huge, huge piece of this team. The 49ers definitely want him in front of Brock Purdy, who, by the way, is muscled up. Brock Purdy said that he's added a couple pounds of strength. I would say that he's added a few pounds of muscle. I said it before he answered the question today. You look at Brock Purdy on the field, he already had one of the strongest bases of any quarterback in the NFL before this, but he got right in Jacksonville. A lot of hard work over the course of this offseason for Purdy. Looked solid in his first practice. He said there's still some rust the 49ers can knock off, but the very first throw of practice, Brock Purdy rolled to his right, and he just floated a beautiful 25-yard pass over to the sideline above a closely covered tight end, above the defender who was closely covering tight end Eric Saubert, and dropped it into a bucket to Saubert, who was able to get both feet in bounds. It was one of those Purdy throws where you said, okay, this guy can move, and this guy can throw on the move, and this guy can also throw deep, throw outside numbers. Could check all the boxes physically, right? So he looked impressive with that at muscle, and he looked really good with that throw. There wasn't all too much team drill activity for the 49ers today. The pads aren't going to come on until probably next Monday after this first block of practices. But San Francisco did already have to deal with a couple of injuries. And you know it's training camp. You know we're in Santa Clara when the jet flies above us. That's the takeoff pattern from San Jose Airport. It's better when it's on a landing pattern over here, but that's only during storms because the engines aren't quite as loud. Anyway, a couple injuries the 49ers had to deal with. Isaac Guerendo, the rookie running back, it looked like he tripped over something on one of his runs, and I initially thought that maybe he was grabbing his ankle afterwards, but it looked like he was grabbing his hamstring, and then Kyle Shanahan confirmed that it was a hamstring injury, and Isaac Guerendo is going to need to take an MRI. After the injury, Guerendo, who dealt with some hamstring issues in college where injuries were a problem, he looked very, very frustrated. Christian McCaffrey at one point, after the 49ers were through with that session of team drills, walked up to Guerendo checked in on him. So a good moment there of teamwork. But if Aiyuk Guerendo is going to be out for any extended period of time, that means that Cody Schrader, the undrafted running back out of Missouri, one of the best running backs in the SEC, somebody who has a ton of experience, that means that the door has opened even more for Cody Schrader to earn a roster spot with the 49ers here in 2024. So we're obviously going to track that very closely. The other injury happened on the very first play of practice. Leonard Floyd, veteran defensive end, he reached down and he grabbed his ankle or his calf and he limped off the field. But Floyd, remember, this is a tough guy. He has played in 108 consecutive games. And after the 49ers signed Floyd this offseason, he said that, you know, over my 108 game stretch, I've been hurt many times. I've just been tough enough to play through those injuries. So I expected Floyd to get back up and hop right back into action, and that's exactly what happened. On the next possession or the next series, Leonard Floyd was right back out there. So, and he was out there without a limp. So he's a guy that's able to grit through things. And I think that the 49ers really liked Floyd's durability when they decided to sign him. I thought that the nicest offensive play of camp today was Brock Purdy rolling to his right, throwing to Eric Saubert near the sideline. The nicest defensive play came from the rookie, Malik Mustafa. Malik Mustafa is the linebacker, I misspeak. He's the safety out of Wake Forest who's in that linebacker type of body. They call him a mini linebacker. He was playing the single high safety position for the 49ers second team defense. Josh Dobbs, who's in a competition with Brandon Allen to be QB2, was at the controls on the other side. Dobbs lofted a deep pass up to Danny Gray along the sideline. Kyle Shanahan thought that Danny Gray was going to be open. Malik Mustafa covered a hell of a lot of ground from center field. I mean, his range was impressive. He intercepted the pass, and it looked like he might not have even been down by contact. So Fred Warner encouraged Malik Mustafa to run all the way back for a pick six. Wasn't a legitimate pick six, but still Fred Warner was like, keep on running, and he was fired up for the rookie. So Malik Mustafa, there had been, you know, and there still are some questions given his bigger body type. They're calling him that mini linebacker. We know he's great near the line of scrimmage. The questions are, how well is he going to cover a lot of ground at the NFL level? How fast can he be in open field? And today, on that throw from Josh Dobbs, Malik Mustafa did indeed cover an impressive amount of ground. A little bit earlier in practice, Dre Greenlaw was out there. You could tell he's chomping at the bit to be back with the 49ers. He's on PUP. He's probably going to miss the first at least 4 games of the season. That's what I would guess. But Dre was in black sweatpants, black hoodie, heads out onto the practice field during warm-ups. He starts hitting the practice sled. That to me was a really cool moment. You could see Dre Greenlaw just hungry to participate again. Hitting the practice sled, then he starts talking with Fred Warner, and then he starts throwing the football, playing catch with Fred Warner. And Dre Greenlaw, every time I see him play catch out on the field, that's a tradition for them when he's healthy, so he wanted to maintain that tradition. Every single time that he does that, I'm reminded that he is a lefty, just like Steve Young. Dre Greenlaw, the left-hander, so he was excited to be there. 49ers lineup that I saw today, Spencer Burford was the starter at right guard. Looks like he might be in better shape than last year. Looks like he's leaned out a little bit. Looks more athletic as far as the build goes than last year. And without Talanoa Hufanga, who's currently on PUP, the 49ers' 2 starting safeties were Jair Brown and George Odom. Malik Mustafa made that interception with the second team. Isaac Yiadom, by the way, was the 49ers' outside cornerback in first team action. That's their free agent pickup who played so well from New Orleans last year. So nickelback action saw Diamond Lenore move from outside to inside, and obviously Yiadom was operating opposite of Charvarius Ward. Brock Purdy, then when Brock stepped up to the podium afterwards, this was the most composed, detailed, presidential that I've seen Brock Purdy up on that podium in a press conference. Really starting to give you Tom Brady, Peyton Manning type of vibes as far as how he's been able to handle the media, just calm, composed, and really delving into detail on everything. I asked him about the tight end position, and he was able to go through the guys in that position room in a way that I don't think that we saw Brock Purdy execute those press conferences over his first 2 seasons with the 49ers. He's really growing into that franchise quarterback role. All right, here's that video from Matt Barrows of the Brandon Aiyuk sighting at training camp today. He was walking off the field, and then he actually looked to be going into the office with John Lynch.